Good morning. Good morning. It's time to rise and receive. Welcome to your morning send off designed to support you in receiving what you most want by unlearning struggle. So, today we're going to talk about vices and bad habits and how to invite good fortune if you are struggling with vices and bad habits. So, if you are among those who are arriving early, I invite you to think about, do you have any vices or bad habits? What are they? Just kind of let yourself really have today's Rise and Receive be a space where you be willing to feel safe about this, to let it be okay, whatever that is. So let me give you some examples of bad habits and vices if maybe you're not used to thinking about these using that language. So a bad habit or vice could be checking out in front of the TV, or just zoning out and eating, or emotional eating. That you might struggle with substance abuse, okay, alcohol or drugs of some kind. And the nice thing about watching this from the comfort of your own home or phone is this is your own private time to just really, again, try to invite some safety around exploring this topic today. Maybe you play video games till the cows come home. Maybe you are practice what I've heard referred to as retail therapy. You spend a lot of money. So you know that it's a vice or a bad habit. And we'll talk a little bit about how you even know if it's a vice or bad habit. One sure sign is you might want to change it. Like there's a part of you that, you do it, but there's a part of you that doesn't feel good about it. Sometimes we're really conscious about these bad habits or vices and we don't feel good about it. Other times we that's not an issue. Okay, but maybe other people have expressed concern about this bad habit or a vice. And another one, if you're here, and I've heard this it's a really great way to express it, is when you are outsourcing your well-being. You're outsourcing your well-being to a habit or a behavior instead of insourcing it, turning within to discover how to tap into and nurture your well-being. So if you are struggling with a vice or a bad habit, if you are here because you're curious, whatever that is, as best you can, let your awareness of what that is simply be here. And if you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author, and I'm passionate about teaching people how to receive, because receiving is its own very tangible, results-producing skill set. But most people are unfamiliar with or maybe weak in this skill set, and what most people have more developed is a hard work ethic based skill set. So it requires a lot of doing and a lot of thinking, a lot of pursuing and hunting and planning and strategizing. And so what happens is if you don't have access to both of these skill sets, which I like to use the shorthand for the doing model of power, which is all that action, and the being model of power, which is receiving, then what happens is when you are working hard and pursuing your goals and dreams and they don't arrive, or they're still out of reach because we don't know how to receive what we've been working hard for, what we tend to do is more of what we know. So we work even harder. And that's what is at the heart of learned struggle. So I'm here to illuminate the possibility that while some struggle is natural to life, a lot of it is learned and you can unlearn it. And the way we unlearn a habit is we start learning new habits, which, because they feel better, start to replace the old habits. And then balance comes into your experience. So each morning at Rise and Receive, I pull one card from my brand new Receive Oracle card deck. And yes, that's the new official title, the Receive Oracle cards. And each card has one message that I let inspire the Rise and Receive message for today. So I'm going to read you the entire card that I pulled, and there is going to be another link in the description above or below if you are on Facebook or YouTube that will have another video that I already did on this card, so you'll be able to really do a deep dive into today's concept. So here is the card. Nurture yourself. Nurture yourself. Now, I'm going to do a little disclaimer before I even start this. I hope that just those words don't turn you off and make you say, I don't want to listen to this, because I cannot emphasize enough how important nurturing is to your capacity to receive your joyful fulfillment. And if you have a vice, and that has an element of checking out from the world, it's a good sign that you are malnourished or weak or disconnected from nurturing. So I hope you won't run away just because this sounds boring, because this actually can be the keys to the kingdom of everything that you're looking for. So sit back and let these words wash over you, and I invite you to close your eyes, because then the words can go in more deeply. Take a breath. That puts you in receive mode. Here we go. Nurture yourself. We struggle unnecessarily when we believe that we can only receive as a transaction. In other words, I'll provide you with X, then I can receive Y. The doing model of power values productivity. The being model of power values presence. Practice noticing when you ask the question, what do I need to do? And instead ask, what do I need? Listen and explore how you can nurture this need. You do not need to earn your receiving. Your value is not in what you produce. Your value is in your mere presence. As you expand in your capacity to self-nurture, you open to a limitless capacity to receive simply because you exist. Not because you perform, not because you produce, not because you earned it, not because you fulfill some idea that you have about finally being enough to be worthy, and not because there's a fair and just reason. Like the majestic tree who was nurtured by life, you receive simply because you exist. This is the truth of your natural self-worth. This is the true nature of life. It is always offering kindness. The more you practice receiving for no reason at all, the more you will receive for no reason at all. Remember, when you hear yourself asking, what do I need to do? Ask instead, what do I need? And explore nurturing this need. Reasonless receiving manifests more reasonless receiving. So that's the Nurture Yourself card. I invite you to take a breath. Let that sink in. Your mind doesn't need to understand this, but your being can and will. I get the feedback a lot of times that these rise and receives are just soothing just by hearing the words. That's because your being is receiving. Your being is recognizing the truth of this. If it feels good, it means you're in alignment with it. If it feels bad, it means you're not in alignment with it. It's that simple. So with this, I'm going to give you a willingness mantra. And willingness activates the power of invitation. The receiving model of power is based in invitation. The doing model of power is based in intention. So we invite, which means you don't have to figure it out. You don't have to analyze it, plan it, make something happen. You simply invite it, and life takes care of the rest. And your consciousness will take care of the rest. So here's your mantra. I am willing to receive simply because I exist. I am willing to receive simply because I exist. This mantra in and of itself is nurturing. So you can use it anytime. You cannot overuse it. It is for you. It's a form of self-nurturing. And eat it, breathe it, sleep it, say it out loud, say it to yourself. Just try it on for size. Imagine that, receiving simply because you exist, not because you earned it, waited for it, did hard work, became enough, simply because you exist. So how does this connect with vices and bad habits? All right. The thing about, here's another little bit of a disclaimer. Yes, we have a lot of different models for why people have vices and bad habits, especially in the realm of substance abuse. I am not talking about the disease model, okay? So please know that this is not in place of or a substitute, and I'm not disregarding or dismissing that at all, okay? There's many ways of approaching health and well-being when it comes to vices, bad habits, and substance abuse. And, so it's a both and, not either or, and this is the consciousness angle. This is the angle of being holistic and that your consciousness creates your reality. So this does not interfere at all with any other model that you might have explored or be exploring around vices and bad habits, okay? As a matter of fact, it's very, very helpful. It's very, very supportive of this. So with that disclaimer said, here's what I want to offer you. A lot of these bad habits and vices are, and we don't do it consciously. This is a learned struggle, learned behavior. These are ways of that we check out. We disconnect with how we feel. Okay. And when we're checking out and we disconnect with how we feel, underneath that all, it's because it is a way that we learned as best we could to soothe and nurture ourselves when we had a need. So what I want to invite you to do is anytime that you notice yourself reaching for that vice or bad habit, instead of what most of us do, if we want to work on it, if you don't want to work on it, that's one thing. But if you're here, you might be curious about, how do I invite good fortune when I'm struggling with a vice or bad habit? How do I, in other words, feel better about it? How do I become healthier? How do I let go of this vice or bad habit? We're wanting to invite good fortune. Instead of what most of us do when we're struggling with it, which is that we get in our heads, we beat ourselves up, we analyze, we make these promises and commitments of, I will never and I need to stop, without dealing with the underlying consciousness and energy of it. This is why willpower doesn't work. Your consciousness is not aligned with it. And the reason why your consciousness is not aligned with it is underneath the behavior is a need. It's a need for nurturing, for soothing. Okay, so I invite you, whenever you're struggling with the vice or bad habit, is to start to reframe it. And instead of like the automatic pilot thing that you might do, which is to beat yourself up or analyze yourself to try to make this go away, instead it's to say, there's a need here. This is a call for nurturing. This is a call for soothing. Back to the mantra, I am willing to receive simply because I exist. Start there. There's a whole discovery process for you available around what are my needs and how do I nurture my needs. And if you are malnourished or disconnected from nurturing, which many of us are to some degree, it's a continuum from a little bit to a lot. There can be a lot of trauma and everything in between, okay? It's a discovery process. But if you change your relationship to the vice from control, from trying to control it, from trying to make it go away, which is resistance, what you resist persists. That's why willpower doesn't work. But if you start to look at this vice and this bad habit through the eyes of love, through the eyes of compassion, through the eyes of gentleness, that you're doing the best you can, that's all you've ever done is the best you can. And you become curious and ask yourself, I'm doing that thing again. I'm checking out, all right? What's the need? I must be trying to soothe myself or comfort myself. I am willing to receive, and you can even expand it, nurturing and comfort simply because I exist. If you start to direct your attention in that way, life will give you, because where your attention goes, the energy flows, awarenesses, next steps. You will attract into your life the next steps on your journey for letting go of the vice and the struggle and learning how to replace it with the true need underneath it all. That's how it works. Okay, so I hope this is helpful. I hope it gives you some comfort and some soothing as you look at a new way to relate to your vices and your bad habits. Use the mantra. And if you would like to go deeper with this, if this resonates for you, I'm going to start illuminating a brand new resource that is coming up soon. In January, I'm launching a program. It's a 6-month group coaching program, which is more than half full. It's called the Feel Worthy Program. I'll include a link. It's feelworthyprogram.com. And because this is a group coaching program as opposed to kind of the DIY 30-day challenge or the receive cards, it's a more intimate sort of a scenario because it's limited to 20 people. It's live, it's with me, and this is something that, it's a little bit more of an investment, but if you are curious about this, I'd be happy to talk to you about it to see if it's the right fit for you, okay? So you can just check it out. I didn't do a full-blown registration page, but there's a lot of information on that page, feelworthyprogram.com, and what we do in this program for 6 months is we learn how to identify our needs, nurture our needs, soothe and comfort. It's very focused on how to nurture yourself and to connect the dots between nurturing and receiving. Because here's the bottom line. You cannot receive your wants if you don't know how to receive your needs. And many of us have unmet needs that have gone unmet our entire lives. I can share with you that when I connected the dots around around the needs, when my mentor helped me really see this, my whole world opened up on an inner level and an outer level of what I became able to receive with so much ease. As a matter of fact, the receiving programs came from connecting those dots. That was like the last puzzle piece for me to move into greater peace, greater well-being, and to be able to receive simply because I exist. The flow of life's abundance opened up exponentially. And this is what happens for all of my clients who go into this realm, okay? It's often the missing piece to receiving unconditionally for no reason at all. Okay, so with that, if you like this, please share with anybody that you think could benefit. And if you are on YouTube, please click the red subscribe button. It helps me reach the people that I'm here to serve. I always include links for next steps if you want to explore that further. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you at the next Rise and Receive. Bye, everybody.